What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Lorena Sinclair, and today we're getting into this Valentine's Day glam. And this is not your everyday, regular, soft, sweet, clean girl aesthetic. No, this is a full glam Valentine's Day look. Sparkly shadow, bold red lip, bright blush. We're going all out this year. So grab your brushes, grab your makeup, and let's get glam together. Lately, I have been starting my makeup with setting my brows, and this also helps me not fill my brows in at all. I know it's kind of crazy, but because I have pretty, I mean, I don't have like the thickest brows, but like it's hair there. I can kind of get away with it most of the time, a lot of the time, all the time. So this is just the NYX Control Freak Eyebrow Gel. I've had this for quite some time and I always neglect it for like other brow products, but I have run out of those brow products and I really am on a stop spending so much money that you don't need to spend journey this year. Like, why do I buy a new brow gel when I have one that I'm not using? It doesn't really make sense because I do like this one. So my journey this year is using what I got. You know, kind of like we got McDonald's at home, we got makeup at home, and we're just gonna let that set while we do the rest of our makeup. For concealer, I want my like brow bone to kind of pop, so I'm gonna use the Morphe Wake Up Artist Concealer. I'm using the shade Beige 6N to carve out my brows and set my eyelids. And I'm just using a Morphe A19 brush to really carve this out. Literally been dropping everything for the last few days and it's driving me kind of up a wall. Like I have completely, I'm using the BK Beauty A506 brush to blend this out. For the like main part of my eyelid, I'm going in with that same concealer just in a different shade. This one's the shade 7.5N Sandstone, and the reason why I'm using two different colors is because I'm mostly going in with like deep browns. I just don't need it to be as light as I want the brow bone to be. And I'm just making sure that it is blended all the way out, even blending across the bridge and even blending down. And I do just gently like soften this front part. I don't know, I'm starting to not love the like super carved look. So I'm just gonna soften like the front part of the brow a little. Okay. By the way, I have been really loving this concealer. Okay, this is so sad to me. All right, well, to set, I'm using my favorite pressed powder, the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And I'm just taking that on a big fluffy brush. This one's also by Morphe. It's the A14. And you want to make sure that you have no creases when you set this down. I'm just going to tap this all over and really making sure that I get in the little crevice right there. Yep, you want to get all of that. And the reason why I'm setting this down is that it's going to make blending out the other shadows much easier. And it's also going to make sure that that concealer does not start to crease up on me. I'm going in with my, let's see, do I want to use this one? Do I want to use this? I'm actually going to use this. This is the Juvia's Place bronzer in tan. And I'm going to be using the top shade as my first eyeshadow color, really as my transition shade. And I'm taking that on. My absolute favorite brush to do this step is the Morphe X Ariel A11 brush. It is beautiful at blending. Absolutely love it. And I'm starting right under my brow and I'm using circular motions first just to lay the product down. And then once I feel like that is in a good spot, I'm going to start to windshield wiper slash circular motions out here. And I want this kind of dramatic also, so I'm going to go pretty high, close to the front of the brow. But then when I get here, I'm going to leave this space. Remember I said I wanted that highlighted brow bone, right? We're going to try to leave some of this empty and bring it down. And I put concealer all the way out here because I want this to be really blown out. And so I'm actually going to blend all the way over here. I actually really prefer to use a bronzer for this step because usually bronzers are a little less pigmented than an eyeshadow and they're easier to just blend out and you're going to get a much softer look with them. And that's what I'm always going for with a transition shade. I don't want it to be hard to blend out. I want it to be really smooth and buttery. Just gonna take this no additional product and just go over the edges. And this is pretty old. Is it expired? 100%. I'm still gonna use it 100%. This is the Jackie Aina X Anastasia palette. Oh, like how pretty still is this packaging, you guys. Did not use this enough when I first bought it, but I'm gonna go in with Ginger. And this is a Jessup brush. Ooh, yep. This is right. This is the right choice. I'm making really good choices. I'm gonna work this into the crease. And I'm still using a mixture of like circular motions and windshield wiper motions. And I still want this to be kind of blown out at the edges. So I'm just gonna use circular motions to get this out. I would love to know in the comments what y'all and your significant other do for Valentine's Day. Me and my husband, every year, our tradition is actually to not go out on Valentine's Day because we are both introverts and we just feel like there's way too many people outside. Yeah, y'all need to go home. So we actually choose to stay in on Valentine's Day, and like sometimes I'll cook like a nice dinner and sometimes I will just make regular dinner. And then the day after Valentine's Day, when no one's actually outside, we go outside and we do our Valentine's Day dinner. But I would love to know, what do y'all do if you do anything? Okay, so now I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna stay in this Jackie palette because it's just that cute. Okay, I'm gonna go into Credit, which is that deep brown. One brush stroke, one brush stroke. Perfect. This is a Morphe M441. The Lord himself is the only one who knows how old my brushes are. Okay, so I'm starting by just tapping this into the outer corner, and I'm gonna work this into my crease. And I'm going for kind of a classic like eyeshadow shape where all of the darker pigment is out here, and I'm gonna really do a bright lid. And so I'm just bringing this up. And then you always want to have your other brushes nearby so that you can blend. This is the brush that had ginger on it. Not adding any more product. I'm just using it to blend the colors together. And I do that with a mixture of windshield wiper and circular motions. And I'm just like with circular motions, I'm gently winging this out. Just ever so slightly, giving myself this like lifted, almost wing effect without making it too heavy. Because I have hooded eyes, sometimes when I do this shape, it makes the like top look really heavy, and I don't want that. But I do want something a little lifted on the outer portion. So just connecting these and lifting, and then going back in and blending everything out. Super important to just look straight into that mirror and start blending also, because this is going to be what people actually see when they look at you. So if you are holding a little mirror and you're only looking at your makeup like this and you're like, oh my God, it's perfect. When you look up, it might be janky. Like you can see how dark this is here. But then when I look straight, it's like it kind of disappeared. I'm actually going to bring this up just a little bit. I know exactly what I need. I actually am going to go into this color. This is a Profusion brush. Couldn't even tell you where I purchased this from, but it's their large blending eyeshadow ES1 brush. It's like a tapered brush. And I am just adding that pigment like right onto the tip of the brush. Tap off the excess. I'm holding it super far back and with a really light hand just going over the edge of that deep brown. Yep, that's what it needed. And then also using this to bring it out to the corner. Okay, that took like 45 years, so I'm gonna do the other side and I'm gonna be right back. Okay, now that I've got the lid looking like I want it to look, I'm gonna go in with this gold shimmer. This shade is called Zamn, and it is everything. Like, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. It does kind of pick up super glittery, so I'm just gonna tap onto my hand. I'm just gonna start by stamping this on to my lid. And I'm using my finger to kind of feel for where my crease is. I'm literally using my finger as a makeup tool, right? So I'm putting it down and I'm also kind of rolling, and that's how I'm blending this. By pressing and rolling, using a finger with nothing on it to kind of blend out. That's super pretty. Okay, and now I'm just going to go in with that, what is this, M441 brush that has the darkest brown. I'm using the very tip of it and I'm just going around the edges so that this is more of a blended eyeshadow look and less of a cut crease. And this will spread the glitter also, but that's kind of what I want it to do. I need to do some sort of liner situation, but I think what I'm gonna do is take a angled brush, a flat angled brush. This one's by Juno and Company. It's very old, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm gonna run into, this is Credit. I'm going to kind of like reapply this here. This is getting a little 2016-ish. I actually want to see if I can just get away with doing this to kind of just smudge up the lash line. I don't want to do like a really harsh liner. I feel like winged liners, harsh like liquid liner, it almost defeats the purpose of trying to go for a sultry makeup look. Like sultry to me is that like very glam and like sexy, but like it's not super sharp. Like it is a little bit smudged and it is a little soft even. Even if I went with a brown liquid liner, I would get such a harsh like straight line. And then to me it just wouldn't be sultry anymore, and trying to stay as close to my lash line as possible. And I'm doing a mixture of stamping and like dragging, pulling almost. And then I want it to be really thin towards the inner portion of the eye. And then the further out we get, I'm kind of going up at an angle, just like you would do with a liquid liner. Now that that's done, again, going back in with that M441 brush, I'm just going to blend the edges together. Okay, so this is my favorite step when I want to do like something really, really sultry and I'm doing that liner, but I don't want the liner to be super noticeable. I'm gonna go back in with Zamn, that glitter, and I'm just gonna so gently go over the edge of that liner. And this is gonna make it like prominent, but like a little bit hidden. You don't want to use too much. You want to use just enough. And you can go back and forth. Like that is the beauty of makeup, is that you can always go back and forth. But I don't necessarily want to blend this out, but I don't want it to be like crazy prominent either. Oh my gosh, so much of makeup is, especially eyeshadow, just going back and forth between all of your brushes until it all looks as close to perfect as you can manage. And it's like, okay, I can either use this like just creamy matte brown, or I can use, this one is still like a creamy brown, but you can see it's got like a little shimmer in it. This one's from LA Girl. It is the Shockwave Metallic Eyeliner in the shade Brown Sugar. I think I'm gonna go in with this and I'm going to line my waterline. I'm actually gonna line it all the way up into that tear duct, which my eyes hate, and that is why I'm doing this now before I do any face makeup, so my eyes can water and regulate without ruining my concealer. This has always been my least favorite part of makeup, is this stupid waterline. But it honestly makes such a difference in how your makeup looks overall sometimes, that it is a necessary evil. And really the only reason I hate it is because my eyes always water. And so it just makes everything really annoying if I forget to do it at the right time. That wasn't so bad. Okay, now I'm going to take a makeup wipe. I'm going to sharpen this up and also get rid of any fallout underneath. So I'm literally just taking the corner that already exists from a folded makeup wipe. I'm going to place it kind of in the angle that I want, and I'm just going to follow that angle. So now the hard part is trying to make them match. It wasn't good. I need more of an angle. Honestly, different but good. I'm just going to use the rest of this makeup wipe to get up this glitter fallout. Okay, I'm just kind of letting the residue from that makeup wipe dry before we continue. This part of the makeup is going to be I'm gonna go kind of fast because this is my regular everyday makeup routine. So I'm using the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. It's going to be really careful once I get here because you don't want to disrupt this, but bring that primer all the way up. Look at that. That's what you want out of this primer. You want it to be super sticky. You want to give the makeup something to stick to. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my concealers, the Wake Up Artist and Sandstone. I'm using kind of on the outside and keeping it a little bit low. And then Beige, I'm gonna use on the inside and keep this a little bit higher. But I'm also gonna do a little bit of beige just right there and like a little bit that it's so it stands out a little bit more. We're gonna go in with a lighter color. I'm gonna go with my favorite bronzer stick of all time. This is the LYS Cream Bronzer Stick. And this is the shade Courage. Okay, and we're going to blend this out with a Sephora 47. And I'm starting with blending my forehead bronzer. Just give my forehead a little bit of shape, you know? This bronzer is a dream for beginners because it's just so easy to blend and you do not need a lot of it. And now this doesn't have to be perfect because we're doing all of this before we do foundation. We can clean any of this up with our foundation application. Okay, A506 brush again, and I'm just blending out actually the outer corner. And if you ever feel like you have too much, have a towel nearby and just wipe off the extra. So I'm gonna bring my little mirror out because I'm gonna need to make this nice and sharp. And I'm not creating a line, I am just following the line that already exists. And same on this side. And I should have done this sooner because I did get a little bit of concealer up here, which is what you don't want, but you just take one of your eyeshadow brushes, preferably the one with the lightest shade on it, and just kind of move that out of the way. And then now I'm ready to blend this out without disrupting that line. And I'm leaving this part alone. Let that continue to sit down. Okay, now for blush, I'm gonna go in with a really pinky blush. This one is by Beauty Creations and it is in the shade Pink Thing. I am gonna place this slightly different from how I normally do my makeup. Usually I keep it really low. I'm gonna place it just a little bit higher today. I'm gonna blend this out with, this is the Real Techniques highlight brush. And I'm just using tapping motions, but I'm also gonna go circular. And I am gonna keep this a little high today, I think. Who am I kidding? I hate, no, I don't. Do I? I don't mind it. Do I know what I want? I definitely want it to come up a little closer here. And then slowly blending that also into a cream bronzer. And then now that I've kind of got it mostly worked out here, I'm going to start to bring it down. I just didn't want it like concentrated here. Now that our blush is blended out, we can go ahead and blend out the inner part of this concealer. I just wanted to let it sit for a little bit longer so that I could get the most coverage and the most payoff out of it. When you let your concealer sit and kind of dry down before blending it out, you are going to get more coverage out of it. Actually, I'm going to switch to a powder puff just so that I can get a really, really smooth under eye. Oh, that's super pretty. Okay, I'm going to use, I have not used this in quite a little bit of time. It is the Haus Labs Triclone Foundation. I have it in the shade 340. I do always remember it being like a little bit warm for me, but I also remember loving it, and everyone else, oh, what's in my eye? Okay, so I'm using, this is a Real Techniques, just a wide foundation brush, and I'm going to use this to paint this foundation on. And this is what I meant about like your bronzer doesn't have to be like the perfect shape, because if you use a flat brush like this, you can literally carve whatever you want and blend later, which is what I'm gonna do. So I'm using this to place the foundation just so that I can get it exactly where I want it before I go to blend it out. To blend it out, yeah, I'm gonna use, this is the BK Beauty 101 brush. I haven't used a beauty blender in probably like 8 or 9 months. This brush feels like a beauty blender. Like that is how it blends. I'm just like using the edge of this brush to blend this foundation into the cream bronzer. And I'm just using like the remnants of what's on my palette to add to any places that need more. If you got like a nose like mine, you got to get into that nostril. Okay, babe, get in there, move it, blend it. Uh-huh. Same thing on the other side. Get in, move it, blend it, because otherwise you get that like buildup. It's not cute. I'm gonna go back in with my cream bronzer brush and I'm just blending these together a little bit more. And by these, I do also mean the blush. I'm blending everything together so that it is nice and seamless. This is looking so pretty. Making sure that everything is where I want it to be because we're about to set with powder. Actually going to take beige 6 and I'm literally like scraping this thing off because I don't want a lot, because I don't love that like forehead or nose highlighted look anymore. But just because this foundation isn't like the perfect color for me, well, it's not bad. It's not bad, but there's something about it that's like not quite right. I just want to add a little bit of neutrality into this. Undertone isn't quite right. And I actually am also going to go back in with 6N and I just want like just a little bit more. I mean, this is for Valentine's Day after all, right? Like we want the drama just a little bit. Not the drama with your person, just the drama with your makeup. Oh my gosh, I remember that I had a boyfriend. I'm not gonna tell that story. Now, before we set, and this is how you're going to make your makeup last all night long, we're going to go in with some setting spray. I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is the matte one. You don't need to drench your face. You just need like a gentle coating. All right, so I'm going in again with my, I'm so sad about this. I'm just going in with a powder puff, picking up a good amount of this on that powder puff and getting the extra, working it in. And I'm just going right into that under eye. And for under eye, you want to be looking up as you set it. Okay, taking my brush, just making sure that I get out any creases. However you set your under eye, that's how it's going to stay. So if you set that thing with creases, you're going to have creases all night. If you set it super smooth, it is going to be super smooth all night. Okay? And I am just like tapping this kind of vigorously, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm sort of using the edge to like set this corner a little bit too. We're gonna set here because we do want that to be lighter than the rest. So right there. I'm gonna use this lighter powder to also set the bridge of the nose. I'm kind of folding the edges together and going straight down. But once I get to this part, I'm gonna turn it on its side and just set that forehead. So this is how you set your smile lines to not crease. Now, if you are like me and all you do is giggle and cackle, they're gonna crease, okay? Because you're happy and you're a happy person. But we're gonna take this powder, you're gonna like puff your cheek out and press. That's powder number one. Powder number two, the Sephora Micro Smooth. I love this powder. I've loved it for years. I'm gonna just set this with a brush really quick. I'm just tapping it in and then just tapping on the skin. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna take this powder puff. That's how we're gonna get that glam look. So I'm just gonna swirl the puff in here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna press. Yeah, that's it. This is gonna give you a little bit more of a like blurred, airbrushed look to your makeup versus when you use the brush. It's like not like it's fine. It's pretty. I use a brush like in regular every day, but it doesn't like get that powder in. You know what I mean? When you use the powder puff, get the excess off and stamp that thing. Oh, airbrush. For bronzer, I'm going in with this Viseart one. This is my absolute favorite. And then my favorite brush for this, the Morphe Ariel collection, it just is amazing. But this is the A58. And I am starting with just like stamping over where that bronzer was. Notice that I did not put powder, like the skin tone powder, I did not put that over the bronzer or the blush. You totally can, but you do not have to. You can just set your products with their powder equivalent. Now, when you do this, you have to be careful because you might get like splotches in different places. So you do just kind of have to know how to still blend everything out and blend it all together, but it is not impossible. Okay, for blush, this blush is so pretty. I'm going to use, this is the Juvia's Place blush duo. This one is in volume 4. And this is like a little brush called Do Care. I guess they do care. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm really corny. That was really bad. This is just a little brush that I got off of Amazon. And I'm going into both of these. And I'm just tapping over where that blush was first, and then I'm gonna go in with another brush and kind of like diffuse everything. Another Morphe and Ariel brush. This one's the A42. Just going into both. Last one that I'll dip into is this light pink one, and this is how I'm gonna blend that out. And I'm just going circular motions, but like kind of big sweeping ones to get a more diffused look. Really just trying to make sure that this bronzer and this blush are well blended together. I can't help but like put the blush on the apple of my cheek. I just think it's so pretty. But I'm also getting this kind of under that under eye a little bit too. I got a little carried away with the blush, so we're going to tone it down just a smidge. And the way we're going to do that is just with our really light pressed powder, getting that back into the powder puff, brushing off the excess, going in for a second layer, also focusing this right here just to lighten up where they meet. Yeah, that's really pretty. I'm just gonna take my first, where are you? There you are. Okay, I'm gonna take this first eyeshadow brush. I know it was in a different bronzer. It does not matter. It's fine. It's okay. I'm gonna take the bronzer that I used on my face. We're gonna work this into the front part of the brow, and I'm just going down the side of the nose. And like that's it. I do not like a really harsh contoured nose. I just like to make my nose look like a nose again. And you need a little something down the side just to like, and I also hear me, people who have noses that look like mine. When you like contour your nose or you do the whatever you do to your nose and you do not do anything to the side. Like you just leave it in concealer here. And I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. We can still see your nose. And now you look a little crazy. I, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. So just, that's all. I'm off my soapbox. I'm done. I'm done. No, that was it. That's all I had to say. I'm done. That is all of our powder products. We're going to set the face one last time. Oh my god, I forgot about my under eye. I'm just gonna take that same angled brush and dip into that deepest brown shade that we used to credit. And I'm stamping this as close to the lower lash line as I can possibly get. Now this is something that you want to do looking up as well, just so that you can really get under that lash and get really, really close to the lash line. And we are going to blend this out, so it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm actually taking this all the way in. Oh, it's already really pretty. You want to sweep away any little bits. Now I'm just going to take, this is also a Jessup brush. This is just like a really small, fluffy dome blending brush. But I'm going to take this into Ginger. And we're just going to blend this lower lash line out. And I'm just using side to side motions. I can't like not do this. The 2016, like it low-key won't leave my body. I'm gonna go into Soleil with a really small brush and we're gonna put this in the inner corner. Now I'm not making it like a super obvious inner corner. I am gonna also like blend this way so that it still blends into everything else. But like I just needed a little pop. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I just want the under eye dark. So I'm just gonna make sure that credit is like very prominent on this lower lash line. Just really stamping it on there. Okay, 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 okay. Soften it. No additional product. I'm just, yep, that's it. Now it's time for mascara and lashes. These really are the finishing touches. This is the L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal mascara. This is the waterproof one. I'm just running this one coat is good enough on lashes. And then I'm also gonna do bottom. I do need my little mirror for this. And for the bottom ones, I'm just kind of wiggling back and forth. These are the Moira lashes. This is the 3D Effect Bionic Vegan Faux Mink lashes. That's a mouthful, but this is in the style Wildflower. I use the Clear Duo lash glue for these. Now, just a little tip, you want to coat the entire lash band in glue, and then I go back in and I do a second coat just on the corners. Because most of the time, what lifts is the corners. And then you're walking around, you have like a little, or like the on the end. No one wants that. A little extra glob on the corners will help you out. And then for your lashes, you want to let the glue dry. Dry. You want to let the glue dry down a little bit before you apply them. And I prefer to apply lashes with tweezers, and of course I'm always using my little magnified mirror looking down. I'm kind of like anchoring my hand, like steadying my hand on this mirror as well. Looking down, I'm going to place it in the center first. I'm going to grab the end with the tweezers, get it off of my lashes, place it, press it in, grab the inner corner and press it in. And you're just going to press all across the lash to make sure it's secure. And then once it's on, I do give it like a little lift. You guys, we finally made it to lips. I'm gonna go in with a lip liner and a lipstick. We're doing a red lip because why the heck not? Okay, this lip liner is from Juvia's Place. This is the Luxe liner in the shade Wine. Don't ask me how old this is. Don't ask me if they still make it because I don't know. But it's a burgundy. You can find a burgundy lip liner anywhere. It does not have to be this lip liner, just a burgundy lip liner. Now I'm choosing burgundy over like a true red because I want to tie in the brown tones in my eyeshadow to the lip just a little bit. And this is, oh, I love this. This is a Sephora cream stain. I think this is in the shade 01. I absolutely love the Sephora cream lip stains. And then just going around with that lip liner. Don't forget to wipe the makeup out of your edges. That is really easy to forget, but you're gonna look a little crazy. And that is the finished look. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.